Hello there, ADU 305. It is Thursday afternoon, January 20th. We're a little over halfway through week 2 of academic writing and research, and I wanted to share a video here that looks back a little bit of what we've covered so far and talks about the work that you're currently doing this week, namely the review essay and the abstract for your larger project. So let's dive in. First of all, I want to congratulate all of you on a good first week, and everybody got their birthday essays in on time. They were well done. By and large, I thought everybody had a good handle on the assignment and was able to execute it well in a timely manner. So good job. Way to start off strong. And I know the second week comes up real quick here with more writing. So I wanted to talk about the review essay. I haven't gotten too many questions, but I do want to bring a couple things to your attention. First of all, the birthday essay from week 1 really is designed to just have you describe. You'll remember that I emphasized not giving your own opinion, but just purely giving description of an event and the opposing sides of that event. The review essay is different though, where you're in reviewing the topic or process of your choice, you are giving analysis and also evaluation. So here's where your opinion and your perspective comes into play with this essay, which is a vital writing skill. You're going to need it certainly with the final course work here and also in your professional lives. So the topic, as the assignment description says, the topic for the review essay should be something debatable. It shouldn't be obvious. Like they give the example of seatbelts. The fact that wearing seatbelts is a good thing isn't a highly debatable subject. So you want to pick something to review that might be a little bit more controversial than that, or at least up for worthy debate. You want to consider opposing views as you write. This is definitely a skill that you're going to want to present with the change proposal, final project, where you're anticipating how somebody may disagree with your proposal or disagree with your evaluation. And you've thought of that ahead of time, and you've preemptively acknowledged possible rebuttals and set up arguments to persuade against them. This is a very good thought pattern and a good important writing pattern to be able to practice and master. So I would encourage you to try to include that in your writing for this review essay as a good practice for skill for the final proposal. Just a word on research. This has come up with a couple students. Because the topics for your assignments for this review essay and also for the change proposal tend to be very specific. I think all of you have picked really good topics, and but I've mentioned to some of you, getting in there and doing research and finding sources and articles and academic sources and academic articles that are specific about your topic might not be so readily available because you've chosen something that's very unique and specific to your professional life, let's say. So what you need to do is think more thematically about your topic. Think about what's the thematic underlying issue that's kind of undergirding my situation, and what might the research say about that. And then if I find things that are kind of thematically related, how could I take those and then reapply them to my situation? Kind of looking for principles, so to speak, as opposed to looking for particulars. And Kristen, who's in this class, and hello Kristen, and your colleagues, had a great question about that. She's doing a proposal about cardiac patients who receive pacemakers or other devices, and then for some reason they fall through the cracks and they're not involved in the tracking program. Sorry, Kristen, if I'm kind of butchering this off the fly here, but they're not involved in the tracking program, and so the agency, the private agency that's meant to support their device and make sure it's operating properly from a technical standpoint, doesn't have them in the system. And so these people are kind of falling through the cracks. They're getting these really important devices implanted, and then they're not receiving the maintenance care that they ought to. And so she wants to propose a new process, a new protocol for how to avoid this. And made me think about something I heard on a podcast a while ago about checklists, and how some doctors who were surgeons and were in doing surgery, you wouldn't, you may be surprised, but there are things that fall through the cracks there too, and there's so many different procedures and steps that have to be taken in surgery, that they adopted a system of checklists that they took from the aviation industry. And there too, flying an airplane, there's tons and tons of little things that need to be checked and accounted for every single flight. And so they took this system, this approach of making checklists, and adapted it in the surgical theater, and found that it had a great effect. They had many great reduction in problems, complications, things forgotten, things not accounted for in the course of all sorts of different surgical operations. So there was an example that I tried to give to Kristen to say, that's something that you could find research on. That's something you could find academic peer-reviewed articles on. And what you're seeing there is an underlying principle at work that you could take to support your ideas for a protocol in your specific situation with your employer about these cardiac implant patients. And so I think that's something we can apply to all of our situations as we try to go out into the research. It can be daunting. There's so much to sift through. You want to try to find something that's weighty and impactful, but there's just a lot of reading and a lot of discernment that's required to quickly understand whether or not something's going to be useful, or whether or not something applies to your particular situation. So like I said in week 1, go to the research with questions instead of answers. Go with hypotheses instead of agendas, so to speak. And my advice in week 2 here is try to find thematic correlations, analogous principles that will apply to your topic, and then use those to undergird the particular points that you're trying to make persuasively for your topic. Hopefully that's helpful. The next subject here is the abstract. The abstract is for it's an assignment for this week, and all that is a kind of a little bit of an expansion on the change proposal work that you did in week 1. The change proposal in week 1, right? You just kind of put an idea out there and drafted a thesis statement. Well, now you're gonna deepen that a little bit, clarify and refine that concept a little bit, and expand it into a solid paragraph. I would say 6 to 10 sentences long. That is kind of an executive summary, viewing your proposal from 30,000 feet, if you will, and saying this is the landscape of the proposal that I'm going to cover. Here is an analysis of the problem. I'm going to spend 3, 4, 5 sentences kind of digging in and fleshing out the problem, why it's a problem, its implications, its impact. And then I'm going to spend another 3, 4, 5 sentences going into my proposed solution and getting into a little bit more details, refinement. You want this paragraph to really set the stage for your work, so that, assuming the paragraph doesn't change wildly, eventually when your change proposal is complete, we'd be able to look at all of the content in your change proposal, all of the points made and all of the ideas presented, and trace them back to sources that would be in this abstract. So that you'd be able to see the genesis of your ideas in this abstract. So in addition to the paragraph, you also want to have a working title page to make sure you're good on format, and a working reference page. The reference page should have included APA formatted references of all of the research you've done so far for your change proposal. And by this time here, the end of week 2, you will want to have a couple potential sources so far, and that gives me a chance to see what you've done and also evaluate the kinds of sources you're looking into. See if I can give any guidance there. A word on discussion groups and the peer review process. I've not been in there this week yet. I'll be getting into there tonight to see where everybody is. But I would just remind you that according to the rubrics laid out in this course, the discussion forum and the peer review process has kind of a strict schedule each week. There's certain deadlines to have an initial posting, and then other deadlines to which by which you want to have subsequent postings. Also, there's criteria of how many responses you make to your fellow students, and also there's some criteria just on the content itself. Are you presenting critical thinking? Are you digging in? Are you giving thoughtful feedback? Are you asking questions just like you would in a good discussion, or are you just kind of saying simple compliments and good job and then moving along? So we want to try as best we can to use this to challenge one another, especially in the peer review process, to get better and really read critically, so that you could challenge one another to be better. And I'm looking for that in your peer review work, and I hope you can get that from your partners and be that sort of partner as you do this work. So participation so far has been okay. I think in first week it was about 50-50 in terms of those of you who really kind of kept up with the discussion forum and those who just were sprinkled in or maybe didn't get around to it. So I understand we're all busy. I get it. It's no problem. But it is an easy way to stay engaged in the course, to accumulate points in the course, and serve your fellow students in this regard. So I encourage all of you to participate fully in discussion forum and peer review, as they are critical components to this course. Let's see here. I think that's all I wanted to say. I appreciate those of you who have reached out to me via email with questions and concerns. Every once in a while there's little technological glitches in these formats, and we try to iron those out. I hope that so far, if you've reached out to me, that I've been helpful and responsive. If not, and some reason I'm talking past you and not really answering your question, please let me know, and I will try to clarify. So overall, we've had great participation so far from this cohort, and I hope that as you're doing your peer review and discussion forum, you all are feeling connected and involved as you interact through the online format. So thanks for your attention here. God's blessings on your continued writing and work. Thank you.